The content provided in this video and on our website is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended as, and translates to, legal advice, professional instruction, OR management direction. CAMWise is not acting as your legal counsel, OR assuming liability for actions taken based on this content. For specific legal interpretations of your association's CC&RS and state laws, always consult a qualified attorney.
The deepest frustrations in community living usually come down to communication. When residents send an email about a leaky roof and hear nothing back for weeks, or receive a robotic violation letter for a trash can left out 2 hours late, tension spikes. That black hole of unresponsiveness happens because in a standard portfolio management model, a single manager is often assigned to as many as 12 different communities at once. They are permanently playing catch-up, drowning in hundreds of daily emails. To survive, they rely on automated inspection apps that generate cold, contextless rules enforcement. The management company becomes a faceless bureaucracy. Volunteer boards see this anger and naturally want to fix it. The most common reaction is to consider firing the corporate firm entirely and directly hiring an independent, dedicated community manager to sit right in the local clubhouse. This quadrant chart plots the core trade-off of that decision, mapping resident satisfaction against board liability and stress. With a traditional portfolio management firm, the board's legal liability remains extremely low, but resident satisfaction suffers heavily due to split attention and slow response times. If we plot a direct hire manager on this same chart, resident satisfaction shoots up because they have a dedicated, familiar face, but the board's operational stress and legal liability skyrocket in tandem. Deciding between these models requires looking past just comparing a manager's salary to a monthly corporate fee. It is a decision about who absorbs the massive regulatory compliance risks mandated by state law. By attempting to solve the neighborhood's communication problem with a direct hire, volunteer board members inadvertently force themselves to act as a fully exposed corporate HR department. Let's examine the actual financial math. Boards frequently look at an independent manager asking for a $75,000 salary and assume they will save money by cutting out the corporate middleman. This vertical waterfall chart shows the total cost of ownership. Starting with that baseline $75,000 salary, we immediately run into hidden expenses required to replace a management company's infrastructure. The association must directly fund federal and state payroll taxes, workers' compensation insurance, and health benefits. That employer burden adds 20 to 30% to the base cost right away. Then we hit the workload limit. One person cannot physically drive the streets for covenant violations while simultaneously sitting at a desk answering resident phone calls and updating the mandatory state website portal. To prevent immediate operational gridlock, the board will quickly discover they need a secondary payroll for a part-time administrative assistant, adding over $40,000 to the budget. Next comes compliance. Florida law gives residents a statutory right to request a detailed financial ledger of what they owe, and the association has exactly 15 business days to produce it. Most operational managers are not trained in GAAP-compliant fund accounting. To keep the books clean and legal, the board must hire an external specialized bookkeeping service, adding another $15,000 to $25,000. Finally, to operate legally under state digital mandates, you have to purchase standalone, single-user licenses for enterprise property management software, a cost management firms normally absorb through massive bulk discounts. Add those layers together, and a supposedly cheap direct hire salary easily inflates past $160,000 in annual overhead. Directly employing a manager does not eliminate corporate overhead. It forces the volunteer board to fund and build a highly expensive corporate infrastructure entirely from scratch. The financial cost is steep, but the human element introduces an even larger vulnerability to the community's operations. This workflow diagram illustrates the single point of failure. When an entire community's operations are tethered to one unbacked individual, a break at the center halts everything. If your independent manager goes on a 2-week vacation, catches a severe flu, or suddenly quits for a higher-paying job, the system freezes. Vendor invoices sit unpaid, maintenance requests stack up, and estoppel certificates stall out. The burden then falls on the volunteer board. They are legally obligated to step away from their own lives, to process payroll, manage daily resident disputes, and spend their nights conducting job interviews. A professional management firm provides a massive institutional safety net designed specifically to prevent this exact scenario. If a property manager has a personal emergency, a centralized firm instantly dispatches a floating manager or regional supervisor. They already know the community software and can keep the wheels turning without a single day of disruption. The state also enforces strict legal standards regarding service transfers. If official records aren't smoothly returned during a transition, the association faces penalties of up to $1,000 per day. In a business-to-business vendor relationship, the management company's dedicated compliance team absorbs this turnover risk entirely, shielding the board from personal and financial liability. While a standalone direct hire offers unmatched familiarity with the neighborhood, that model instantly converts your volunteer board members into full-time, uncompensated crisis managers the moment an emergency strikes. This leaves boards trapped in a catch-22. You desperately want the dedicated, visible presence of an on-site manager, but you cannot afford the financial and legal hazards of becoming an employer. This matrix details the hybrid on-site contract. It hits 4 targets: resident focus, cost predictability, backup continuity, and HR liability shield. The firm places a dedicated employee in your office. Residents get fast problem solving, while boards gain centralized corporate accounting and institutional backup personnel. Ultimately, your structural choice comes down to your community's specific size and budget limitations. Massive communities with vast budgets are the only ones properly equipped for the direct hire model, as they have the capital to fund a complete, multi-person internal HR and accounting department. Small, highly budget-conscious communities must utilize traditional portfolio management firms. You accept slightly slower communication in exchange for vital legal and financial compliance. But for mid to large communities seeking the best of both worlds, the hybrid on-site contract is the structural answer. It carries a premium fee compared to a shared portfolio manager. However, it is the only model capable of permanently securing the rapid communication your residents demand, while completely isolating the board from operational gridlock and legal liability.